Catherine Turiwairi's reign as Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director came to an abrupt and embarrassing end last week after the authority's board ousted her over alleged incompetence. The board appointed Dr. Daniel Manduku, the National Construction Authority Chief Executive Officer, as the acting Managing Director. We'll look at the changes and what they mean for KPA. Welcome back to News Center. Thank you for staying with us. We continue with our coverage here on the show. We'll be looking at a number of other top stories, including Moi Girls High School here in Nairobi will remain closed for 1 week to pave way for investigations into an alleged rape incident at the school on Saturday morning. It was reported that 3 girls were raped by an intruder who mysteriously gained access to the expansive 42-acre institution. The Education CS Amina Mohammed has assured parents and the traumatized girls that thorough investigations will be conducted to get to the bottom of the matter.
On September 2nd, 2017, Moi Girls High School was in the news after 9 students perished in a fire that later emerged was caused by a fellow student. Fast forward 9 months later, and Moi Girls High School, Nairobi, becomes a meeting point of emotions, scars, bitterness and anger following a moment of madness in the school where claims of rape have emerged. And just like in September last year when the school was closed for 2 weeks after the daring arson attack that took with it 9 lives, Moi Girls High School has been closed for a week following the rape allegations. A late-night meeting between the school administration and the board agreed to send the students home.
We were here last night, as you remember, and had meetings with the parents, consulted actually quite thoroughly, and agreed together that we were going to bring forward the half term that was supposed to start next week to this week so that the girls can go home this morning and come back after to resume their studies.
The exact number of girls allegedly raped on Friday night still remains unknown, with conflicting reports placing it as either 1 or 3. Education Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed saying 1 student was the victim of the Saturday morning incident.
This is very unfortunate, and I think it's something that all of us regret. That's why we're going to begin here at the school to carry out this security assessment that we need to carry out, identify any gaps that exist, and then address them.
The exact time when the devilish act took place is also unclear, with others claiming it was at 12 midnight, other reports putting it at 5 a.m. Saturday. But what is worse, if true, is the emergence of details that the school had asked the students to keep quiet about the rape incident, managing to keep it under wraps for over 12 hours until evening when the news broke out. Some girls spoke to KTN, but we cannot reveal their identity because of legal reasons and fear of victimization.
Ilianza riots kitu kama hapo 5 kwa sababu walikuwa wametutishia na visu, wakasema tukipiga nduru watatua, so mwenye alikuwa na ripiwa as in it was just sad. Tulikuwa tumeambiwa tusiseme, as in tulikuwa hii mambo ifikie wazazi, tulikuwa tumeambiwa tunyamaze, hata tulikuwa kwa daka tuambiwe kitu yoyote. Sasa tulikuwa hii mambo ndio imekuja kuchukua serious. Sasa zile tumelete riots shule kwa sababu kama tungeongea hawangesema. Walikuwa wamesema ati hii mambo tunadanganyana. Huyo msichana ati alikuwa amedanganyana, alikuwa na nightmares, as in mpaka sisi wenyewe tunashindwa how can more than one person anakuwa na the same dream, the same bad dream, as in we were just like
watch lady na watch women hatujui kazi yao ni gani. Kama 3 men can literally waingie kwa hostel zetu na washike na visu, actually na washike dem wamrape ndani ya hostels, alafu na pia wakasema this is a warning. You can imagine how serious this thing is.
If something is not done, on the management, because we can see clearly the responsibility falls squarely on the management of the school. There is literally poor management. Now, if that is not done, I highly doubt I will bring my daughter back to the school.
Key questions white as day have also emerged. Just how did a stranger walk into a city girls' school guarded by a reputable company with 10 guards and 2 dogs on any given night and managed to rape 3 girls?
Si mara ya kwanza tumesikia hii mambo ya moto, mulisikia mkasa wa moto. Sasa mtu kuna jisi, kuruka na kuna security, hatujafurahia.
But the fence separating the girls' school from the populous Kibra slums is ineffective enough to allow for such penetration. Those close to information have told us that one of the issues detectives are investigating is whether the rapist was an outsider or whether the act was carried out by someone working within the school. Did one man take turns on 3 girls silently without raising a commotion within the school? And were the 3 girls together? Where were they? At midnight or at 5 in the morning? Just how long did this horrifying act take unabated? These are some of the questions that keep poking holes into the entire ordeal. Even as it emerges, the rape ordeal at Moi Girls might have been carried out by a knife-wielding gang. But again, did a knife-wielding gang take all the risks of trespassing into a guarded institution to rape 3 girls? Parents here accuse the school management of downplaying the matter. Brian Obuya, KTN.
Some serious questions there being raised by my colleague Brian Obuya, and I want to bring in my colleague Caroline B. joining us from our city centre studio. She is following up on the investigations. Caroline, what do we know so far? Are there people who are being questioned by police? Are there suspects in custody as we speak?
Well, Betty, what I can tell you is that the administration and also the detectives cannot answer, or is still puzzling how a known man could have entered the school and carried out the alleged incident. And as of yesterday, Kilimani OCPD Michael Mushiri said that they were pursuing some of the leads and could not comment further on that. But the Kilimani police station said they have assembled investigations and, well, over the shocking incident, and they are going to carry out the investigations. Remember, the school has been closed for 1 week so that the students cannot lose out on their studies. So after 1 week, they resume classes. So through that one week period, investigations will be ongoing. And right now, as we speak, I can tell you is that there's one teacher from the school who has actually been summoned for investigations and will be doing a DNA test. It is alleged that he may have participated in the rape incident, and so once they carry out that and the results come out, they will compare with the results of what was found in the body of the lady, or the fluids that were actually found in the lady's body. Once it's compared, they will be able to know whether this teacher is actually clean or not. But he's actually being linked to the rape incident. And following that, there will also be protests which are going to be held today outside the gates of Moi Girls here in Nairobi. And this demos will actually include all students from the school, that is their alumni. It will also involve different movements who call themselves change activists. So what they're going to do is, they will have red paint, and they are planning to paint the school gates red. They will also be dressed in school uniform, not only from Moi Girls, but from any other school. So what they are saying is that every Kenyan is invited who is in solidarity with these girls to avert such cases of rape which happens in different schools, and also which happens to teenage girls around the country. So that is a solidarity march, and they are looking forward to having the investigations speeded up so that the results can come out, and whoever is found culpable then should be brought to book immediately, so as to avert such cases of rape happening in schools. Betty?
All right, Caroline, we also understand that there's supposed to be Board of Governors together with the parents meeting that's going to be this week. Do we know really the agenda of this? Because just listening to the parents, really, they sound extremely angry after what happened last year with the fire and then now this. What is likely to be the agenda of this particular meeting?
Well, Betty, the details of that are not yet out. But if we are to go by Amina Mohammed's speech last evening when she ordered the school to be closed, what she said is that the school is going to be closed so that investigations can be done as soon as possible through that 1 week period. And she says that part of the discussions she's going to have with the school is to strengthen the security systems in that school and also to investigate how this could have happened. Remember, some of the students narrated or recalled saying that when they went to ask for assistance from the school matron and also from the head teacher of that school, they did not get a response, not until 5 a.m. on that fateful day when they were able to get feedback from these two. So that could also be part of the discussion that is going to go on. So apart from strengthening the security system of the school, they will also maybe be discussing on how that could have happened because no one has the answers of how that actually happened in the dead of night. And none of the school administration was actually there to even answer that and to listen to the plea of these girls. So maybe as of now, that is what we can say, but we are not yet sure, or it's not yet clear on what will form the basis of the discussion between the government and also the administration of the school. Betty?
All right, Caroline B there reporting from our City Centre studio, just giving us the details of the investigations. Like she's mentioned, there's one teacher who is currently being probed, and it's a story that will be currently and of course following up here on KTN News. But for now, though, we want to turn to the Parliament, whereby the National Assembly is of course set to resume the sittings tomorrow. If you remember, this is after a 1 month long recess, with the intro quite full. Of course, we have the main focus, the consideration of the budget 2018-2019, but of course the new war against graft is also set to take center stage in Parliament as it resumes. Let me bring in my colleague Murimi Mwangi joining us from Parliament. Murimi, good morning. So let's talk about the budget and of course the main issue right now that many Kenyans are dealing with, and of course that's the issue to do with graft diaries in different institutions in government. Let's talk about the discussions that we're going to see from tomorrow after the sittings resume.
Well, good morning, Betty. Perhaps around Wednesday this week, we expect the chair of the Budget Committee, who happens to be Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah, tabling that budget statement before the floor of the House to pave way for the members to discuss that for the better part of the week. Remember, CS Henry Rotich is expected in Parliament on the 14th of June, that being when he will get the opportunity to defend the 2.5 trillion shillings budget. He is expected to explain, of course, how the government intends to get that particular money and, of course, defend the criteria that has been adopted by Treasury in the distribution of those funds to the various government departments. And after that particular discussion that I said within the course of the week from Wednesday, when the chair of the Budget Committee presents that statement before the floor of the House, there is expected that Parliament will thereafter draft the finance bill, the appropriations bill, and the consolidation bill. And these are the bills that, of course, pave the way for the government to spend these particular funds. Remember, unlike in yesteryears, this time round, there is a special focus on what President Uhuru Kenyatta called his Big Four. And of that 2.5 trillion shillings, we expect that up to 460 billion will specifically go into the various ministries and departments that support the Big Four. Remember, the Big Four, of course, covers universal health care, manufacturing, affordable housing, as well as food security, these being perennial challenges that have been facing Kenya and which President Uhuru Kenyatta promised to cure within his final term, which happens to be his legacy term. Again, Parliament resumes at a time when the national discussion is about the war on graft. President Uhuru Kenyatta recently reiterating his commitment to fight corruption that has consistently been ripping off the Kenyan taxpayers of huge amounts of money. Even as we speak now, there is a separate case before the Milimani Law Courts in relation to the suspected 8 billion shillings scandal at the National Youth Service. And therefore, as Parliament resumes here, the discussion, of course, is going to be about how the specific committees in the National Assembly will be looking at their oversight mandate. Remember, recently, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi had lamented about what appears to be lack of seriousness among members of Parliament in their oversight role. We have seen recently quite some back and forth from the Public Accounts Committee that has been grilling various senior government officials in relation to inconsistencies in their financial records. That, of course, is expected to extend to other committees of the National Assembly as Parliament resumes tomorrow, given the commitment that President Uhuru Kenyatta has given to his war on graft. Again, Betty, talking of matters budget, remember we recently had the Director of Public Prosecution lamenting about insufficient allocation to enable him adequately fight graft at the national level as well as the county level. A few of the senior placed members of Parliament that we have spoken to say that increased allocation to the office of the DPP as well as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is one of the key considerations that members of Parliament will be expected to look at even as they review that budget policy statement, as they also await the CS Treasury on the 14th of June to defend that particular budget. Betty.
All right, Marie Mwangi, thank you very much for that detailed update. We'll be, of course, waiting to see whether those discussions will be, of course, on the floor of the House, how urgent they will be taken as we continue with our coverage here on KTN News. But for now, I want to hand things over to my colleague, Tandiwe Yego. She's going to be talking to us about what's trending, what have people been talking about over the weekend. Tandiwe, good morning. Great to see you. What's trending? Let me ask that.
Good morning, Betty. It is a gorgeous Monday morning, and a lot has definitely been happening over the weekend. There's a lot to be talked about today. A lot of things are happening around the globe, and I'm going to start particularly from home, where a lot of tragic things have been happening, starting us off with the collapse of the Huruma building, which happened on Sunday. It was a very tragic scene. So many people were lost. We lost 3 people during that collapse. 2 were died on the way to hospital, and 1 was found under the rubble. And there's so much outrage on Twitter because this could have been something that could have been avoided. And on our next topic is the Moi girls, which we have just covered extensively on News Center. Moving on to our first story, which is the Huruma building collapse. This was very tragic. It happened on Sunday, and officials are saying that despite the fact that they talked to people and warned them to get out, people did not listen and snuck back in. Our first tweet comes from Honorable Esther Pesaris. I met Little Wayne this afternoon in Huruma when I went to assess the damage and offer assistance to the affected families. Of course, this is referring to the young 10-year-old boy, Wayne, who saved his little brother, who's only 10 months old. It's not yet known whether his father and his sister were found, but we can see because Wayne saved his baby brother, everything was all right. Moving on to the next tweet. Since the January 2015 collapse in Huruma, over 4 buildings have collapsed here, killing close to 100 plus and affecting over 1,000 plus. 2 audits show that 700 plus buildings were declared unfit for habitation, but nothing has been done to improve their safety. And if you'll remember, in 2016, a building in Huruma collapsed just a stone's throw away from the current collapsed building. A building collapsed, claiming almost 49 lives. And on to the next tweet. Lakini, how was it possible? Moving on to the next story, Moi girls. We know what happened at Moi girls. 3 girls were allegedly raped. Looking at the first tweet, Lakini, how was it possible for a rapist to enter Moi girls Nairobi with a perimeter wall plus over 5 security guards and rape not 1 but 2 students and safely escape unnoticeable? But this must be an inside job, and the principal must be held accountable. This is a very sad story. People are wondering on Twitter, how can a complete stranger just waltz into the school grounds and rape 3 girls? On to the next tweet. Moi girls Nairobi tragedy reminds us of the need to abolish boarding schools. Schools should focus on education. Custodial care should remain on parents. Do you agree with this? Barack Wandera definitely thinks so. Moving on to the next tweet, Moi Girls Nairobi closed. I call upon the authorities to speed up investigations and immediately arrest those who are involved. This lapse in security is simply unacceptable. And of course, as we know, investigations are still ongoing. And moving on to our next story, we're moving on to a bit of a lighter topic, but still heavy on the international front. We're going to be talking about Kanye West, who just revealed that he had a mental breakdown. He was diagnosed with a mental illness, and that comes right after the rant that he did on TMZ, saying that slavery was a choice. A lot of black people who have dropped Kanye West from the culture. Please take a look at the clip of him admitting to his downfalls.
I'm so blessed and so privileged, because think about people that have mental issues that are not Kanye West, that can't go and make that and make it feel like it's all good. Think about somebody that does exactly what I did at TMZ, and they just do that at work, right? But then Tuesday morning they come in, they lost their job. I think everybody got something. I think everybody got something. But like I said, on the album I said it's not a disability, it's a superpower.
And that's what's trending around the globe. Betty, back to you.
Thank you very much, Tandiwe, for that. We'll be seeing you later on tomorrow for what's trending. Remember, you can also just tell us what is trending wherever you are. Hashtag, of course, Q's is KTN News Center. And, of course, we'll look at that. Want to take a short commercial break? We're coming back at the top of the hour. Remember that we have one more hour left here on News Center, and we have quite a number of other stories we're looking at. So don't go away. We'll be right back.